guys, it's Dom here from Soundsphere Magazine and Gimme a Whole Yeah. I recently had the opportunity to chat to wrestling legend D'Lo Brown, of course, of Impact Wrestling and WWE fame, about his time in Impact, about getting nervous on the commentary booth, about dream feuds with the likes of Josh, Alexander and Moose ahead of their forthcoming Rebellion pay-per-view. We talked about advice for emerging UK wrestling talent as well. It was a lovely chat and I'm really grateful for D'Lo for his time, and I'm really grateful to Impact Wrestling for their time and their support of what we do. So thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for supporting us, and we'll see you again soon. D'Lo, mate, welcome back to the UK. Obviously, you're in a midst of a busy media day. Have you had any time to chill? Have you had any time to get anything done while you've been back over?
Oh yeah, man. I've had a lot of good times over here. I've been here for almost 2 weeks now, and I've done a lot of work, but then I've had a lot of downtime where I can still, take in the country and take in the food. So I'm having a great time.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And obviously, you've been around. You've done a lot of things in your career. Have you got any special memories connected with the UK and sort of the Northwest and the North, really?
Well, just in being here, I remember how the crowds sing your name. They don't chant your name like in the States. They sing your name like it's like at a soccer ground. So
Yeah.
I enjoy that because of the uniqueness of it, and just the overall atmosphere of the wrestling vibe in this country is amazing. And I love being back being immersed in it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. One of the things that I like to ask people that have had a degree of success in their career, obviously you have not only succeeded in the wrestling ring, you've also worked as a producer, you've done a lot for the wrestling industry. So I'd like to ask you, how do you define success, not only as a wrestler and a performer, but also as a person?
To me, on the wrestling side, success is longevity in this business. Still being around, still being relevant 20 years later. That's success for me. As a person, it is to be considered a good person that people want to be around and people enjoy seeing. When you walk in a room, they don't just go, "Oh, damn, here he is." They're like, "Oh, damn, here he is." So that's success on a personal level. So when you put those two together, that sounds a lot like me in this business. So I'm happy about it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And obviously you've got quite the legacy, obviously your time in other organizations as a champion, obviously time in Aces and Eights in TNA and Impact Wrestling, and obviously again, working commentary and production. Do you pay much attention to the idea of legacy? Does it register with you, or is it something that kind of doesn't really register with you, the idea of legacy?
I think legacy is left better for other pundits to try to figure that out. For me, it's just about it goes back to that word longevity, and the more generations you can interact with and the more generations you can help teach and be around. That's what matters to me, because that cements my place in this business. Now, if you want to use the word legacy, like I said, that's for the pundits to figure out later on, and they can have at it. But I just like being known as Uncle D'Lo or Grandpa D'Lo or just D'Lo,
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we do a lot of work with young people, particularly sort of in arts and entertainment, music industry stuff. And a lot of those people, they struggle with their confidence, and they're trying to find their voice. They're trying to find that's something that'll help them get on in their career, but they might be struggling with different mental health issues, again, different confidence issues. One of the things that you are synonymous with in your career is your confidence, whether that was coming out to the ring or again, being able to commentate over a TV show. Have you always had the confidence that you are associated with, that vibrance that you always showcased, or was it something that you learned, something that you had to develop?
Yeah, confidence was something you developed. I wasn't this confident kid in high school, although I did play, sports in high school. I was confident that way. That being one-on-one with people or being the center of focus in a large room, that confidence had to come with me being comfortable being out there. And that only came with exposure to being in the ring. And the more times I was in the ring, the more comfortable I became. So then when I felt confident about being out there, that's when the confidence just started coming out of me. And that's when the character really, really grew, because at that point, I'm having fun and I don't care. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, I don't care. So that's where that confidence came from. It's just being comfortable with yourself in your own skin and being in front of people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what would you say is the biggest kind of lesson? You know, obviously you get to work with young wrestlers and performers. What is the thing you sort of tell them in terms of a reality about the wrestling industry that you wish when you were younger you'd have known? Is there any sort of lessons that you kind of, you know, teach younger people now based on what you maybe wish you'd have learned when you were starting out?
Oh, absolutely. It's the one thing I really would like to push out there is don't put a timetable on success. Don't say if I'm not signed in 2 years, it's over with, because it may not happen in 2 years. It may happen in 5 years. This is at the end of the day, yes, it's a core business. It's a product that it is massive, but at the end of the day, it's a thing we used to do in our backyard that our mom and dad used to holler at us for. And you know, we used to beat up our brother and our sister. So if you're having fun with it, have fun. And as the business grows and as you grow and as you move up the chain and move up the steps of ladders of business, then worry about making money at it. But right now, just have fun with it and just enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I'm assuming that a lot in the UK and in the US, you get a lot of people coming up to you and saying, "Oh, you know, how do I do this? How do I get into the industry?" What are some key lessons, maybe 2 or 3, of what you want to see from any young person coming up to you, going, "D'Lo, how do I, you know, how do I emulate what you did?" And what in more importantly, perhaps, what do you not want to see from someone? What are some of the mistakes people make when they come to you and they you know they want that, you know, information on how to make it, so to speak?
Well, the first thing is, how do I make it? How do I get signed? Well, if I knew that, I would have a $1 billion house somewhere, because I'd be the next, you know, mega promoter. The one thing that I tell people is be as prepared as you can. So when opportunity knocks, you're ready to knock the door down. So that's, make sure your in-ring wrestling is where it needs to be. Don't worry about a character right away. Worry about your fundamentals in the ring. Build your body and your foundation of wrestling. So I use this all the time. I could put a clown suit on you. You can go out there and get a clown suit over because your wrestling gets over. And people tend to skip over that, and they want to be their character. And everybody wants to be Stone Cold. They want to be The Rock. Just wrestle first and figure that out, and then find a character that naturally comes out of you. And that's one of the big mistakes. And secondly, like I said, don't put a timetable on it. Don't rush it, and don't miss the ride that you're on, because this is the greatest profession I've ever been a part of in my life.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And is there a performer? It's a slightly different slant on the dream match question, but is there a performer in Impact today or elsewhere that you think could bring the best out of you? Not necessarily a dream match that you'd like to have, but a performer that you think could bring the best out of you, or you could bring the best out of them.
You know, I got 2 of them right off the bat. And ironically, they're both wrestling each other at Rebellion. I would love to have Young Me versus Moose.
Oh yeah.
Just to have that clash of just confident guys going at it. And then I would love to test my skills against Josh Alexander, because I consider him the next Kurt Angle with his wrestling acumen and his in-ring ability. So I would like to challenge myself that way to see if I can keep up with him. You know, so those 2 right there are 2 easy ones to pick out.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is it that you miss most about? Again, you mentioned being out there with the crowd and performing. Is there anything that you particularly miss most now at this point in your career? You know, right in this moment, about being in the ring, or were you very much prepared to take that next step in your career, which obviously you're doing now?
No, I was very ready to take the next step, and I started working as there was no title for it, but a guy who would help the other guys work with their matches, put their matches together. So if you call an agent now, producing out, yes, I'd started doing that long ago. And I was ready to cross over, and you know, people ask me what I miss. I don't miss a lot of it, because I still get to live vicariously through the young men and young ladies that I help sculpt their match. And in a small part, I'm part of their match. So then when I see them out there doing it, it's like that dad watching his kid ride a bike for the first time. You get that joy, and it's like, yes. And so I get that same burst of adrenaline when I hear the crowd go wild for something they did, and I had that little teeny part of it. Man, nothing's better.
Absolutely, man. And if you could take me to a moment, again, maybe recent memory where you had that enthusiasm, something beautiful that you'll maybe remember, long after, many, many years from now, an example of that where you went, this is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm here. Maybe somebody in the ring or a match that went down, a particular moment in recent memory.
I can give you something just from this past week that made me, that always rekindled, I won't say rekindled, but just made me realize why I do this. I was at Future Shock Wrestling up here in Manchester, and I was helping guys put together a match, and I gave them an idea on something, and they were like, really? And I was like, yes, try this, it'll work. And then when they did it and the crowd went bananas, I could just see the smiles on their faces as it was happening. And we got in the back and they were like, my good, they were like, that worked. And I'm like, yeah, and this is why we do it. This is why we do it. That look on their face, that excitement when they realize, man, we just created a moment for these people, for this crowd that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And you mentioned, the scene in Manchester, and it certainly got massive, in recent years. Obviously, like a lot of entertainment industries in the UK, not typically associated perhaps with the north of England. Now, for any wrestlers in Yorkshire, where we are, there is great wrestling in Yorkshire or in Manchester. Does location matter? Or is it the person, the character, the skill set? Do you need to move anywhere? Do you need to be doing anything, or can you make it work from anywhere?
In this day and age, you can make it work from anywhere because the one thing I didn't have, the one tool I didn't have when I was coming up is this. I didn't have social media. I didn't have a phone where I could broadcast it anywhere. And now, you can find the next star on YouTube, and that goes for any aspect of life. So talent will rise to the top because the world can see you, where before only your city, your town could see you. So
good point.
Location does not matter when the world is watching.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of a UK performer or a couple of standouts that you've got, is there anyone you've got your eye on, or anybody you've been a fan of for a long time that you can go back and watch their matches either in person or on TV, and you'll just fall in love with them as a performer? Anybody from the UK?
I mean, if you're talking past or present, like past, I'll watch anything Doug Williams. I'll watch anything Doug Williams any day of the week, twice on Sunday. I don't care. Like, he's just a pure performer. And he was one of the early, when there was a drought of talent here in England, he was one of the early standouts. Guys like him or Jody Fleisch, like those are the guys who helped carry wrestling from one generation to the other. And now they're bridging the gap, and they're the ones teaching this up and coming crop of uber talented wrestlers that are out here right now. I mean, I've been touring the country for 2 weeks, and I've been so impressed with so much young talent. I'm like, I can't wait to come back to see where they are 6 months from now, because they're going to be light years ahead of where they are now.
Yeah, that's wonderful, man. It's so lovely that you're able to do that, and it's a testament to your the longevity that you talked about, that you're able to do that. So congratulations on that, D'Lo. A couple more questions now then. In terms of what you've learned about yourself from the very beginning of your career to now, obviously you mentioned, taking the moment in is something that you've learned to do, and really living in the moment. What are some of the key things you've learned about yourself from the very beginning, of your time as a wrestler to where you are now?
The one thing is not go so fast. Enjoy the ride. I mean, this is the greatest roller coaster I've ever been on. And I wake up every morning, I cannot believe this is my job. This is what I do. I cannot believe it, because how many people wake up and go, I love my job. I love what I do. And there was a time when I didn't take it all in. And that's where that enjoy the moment comes from, because you get to travel around the world, you get to meet great people, you get to do interviews like these. And if you don't take it in, this is not normal for everybody in the world. This is something special. So enjoy where you are, enjoy what you're doing, enjoy the impact that you have on people's lives, celebrate that. And though, if you do that, that's a full life, isn't it? I mean, that's really a full life.
Yeah, man, that's an interesting perspective. I think a lot of people can get lost in, again, the perception of the wrestling industry. Oh, I'm never going to be D'Lo Brown. I'm never going to have those matches. And I think, it's about maybe living in the moment a little bit more, perhaps. Yeah.
You never say never, because I remember saying, I'll never make it to the WWE. And next thing you know, I'm standing in the middle of a ring at WrestleMania. So you never say never, because you never know what the universe has got built for you. You never know what the plan is for you until you're passing, you lived it and you're looking back on it going, wow, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, it's true actually. Yeah, like I say, it can happen. You know, it can happen to people with the right acumen, with the right work ethic. And what I'm hearing from you, D'Lo, is you've put the work in, you've developed that confidence, and it wasn't always there. And I think that's key. Is that it doesn't have to be. It's not something you can just click your fingers and find, is it? It's something you've got to really work for.
No, you have to work on it. Not everybody, I mean, and look, trust me, there are these prodigies who have that confidence. They have that in-ring acumen, then they step on the mat and God, they're great. And then other 99% of us have to work at this and have to find it and build it. And that's where the frustration comes in, because sometimes it doesn't come so easy, or success doesn't come as quickly as you want it. But that's where, when you put your head down and keep working and you build for a goal and you try to attain something, that's when it means more, when you put the work in. So then when you're standing in the middle of that ring, looking around and going, damn, I got here, all that work you put in flashes before your eyes, you go, yeah, it was worth it. Yeah,
absolutely.
It was worth it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And, you know, obviously you're here with your Impact family now. Obviously, a lot of people, you've been able to support a lot of people in the UK while you've been here. What is your message to those that have supported you through your career, whether that's family, friends, you know, some people here? What is the message to the people that have got behind you and will continue to do so as you continue on in your journey?
I can't thank you enough for believing in me and lending your support and your heart and your will, encouragement, and patting me on the back when I needed it. I can't thank you enough for being what lifted me up when I needed it and what pushed me through the hard times. So from my heart, from the bottom of my heart to you, I say thank you for always being there, and I could not be here without you.
Absolutely, man. And before we finish up, one of the things again that really strikes me in some of the work that I do is that, again, look, people don't always talk about their bad days. They don't always talk about their worst days. They talk about how, you know, how great things are. And so I wanted to ask you, you know, because again, there's a lot of people that have looked up to your work and really admire what you do, but you probably still have bad days very occasionally. So I wanted to ask you, on your worst days, what are the things that drive you? What are the things that do get you out of bed? You know, so that for anyone else struggling, anybody else that's looked up to you, you know, maybe they can take some pointers or some tips. You know, what are the things that drive you on your worst days? What gets you out of bed? What keeps you motivated?
The thing that I always remind myself is tough times don't last, but tough people do.
Yeah,
and even on my worst day, I realize this is not the worst thing that ever happened to me. Even when my mentals are going crazy and I'm self-conscious and I'm in my own head, just know that there's someone who loves you. There's someone who's wanting you to succeed. There's someone who's wanting to push you ahead. And then you have the ability to do this. Keep your head down and keep putting the work in. Tough days don't last. It's just yesterday.
Yeah, tough days don't last, tough people do. I love that, man. I love that. And again, you know, just tagging on something from that, you mentioned, you know, Doug Williams earlier, and obviously you're in, you know, a great position now. Going back to a similar question from earlier, you know, like people might be of a certain age, they might be at a certain time in their career, and they might think, oh, well, you know, maybe it's too late for me. And I guess it goes back to what you said previously. What is your message to people that are maybe a little older? Maybe they won't be the top ring performer next week or anything like that. Or, you know, but maybe they've got that passion and that drive. Someone that's a little older, that's, you know, wants to get into, you know, arts and entertainment, wrestling, music, whatever, and wants to make a go of it. Is it too late for anybody to make a go of it in their career, or something they're interested in?
If you're breathing, it's never too late. You have a dream, you have a passion, go after it, chase it. Because the last thing you want to do is, when you're 80 years old, sit back and go, I wish I'd have done this. I wish I'd have tried that. Because that regret never goes away. Try it. Yeah. You never know. If you're a weekend warrior or you don't know what can happen, you can get, once again, the internet can find you and they can go, hey, I need that 45-year-old man to play this role. Boom. You don't know. The only way you'll ever never find out is if you never try.
Yeah, Absolutely, man. And again, you mentioned the WrestleMania thing and being at WrestleMania, and obviously Impact's given you some great moments. Have there been any times where you've even with your experience, you've kind of had to push yourself out of your comfort zone, in recent times where you've gone, wow, I only dreamed this would be a thing, and I'm here, you know what I mean? Like, maybe that WrestleMania example is a good example, but any other ones?
I'll give you another one. When I first stepped behind the commentary desk for Impact Wrestling, I didn't know if I could talk. I was like, please don't have mumble mouths. Don't stumble over every third word. Please articulate and get a point and don't just ramble on. I had no clue if I could do it until the red light came on. And then at the end of the pay-per-view, I was like, damn, I did that. That was all right. So yes, and then you sit there and you go, wow, that was different. I was scared. I thought I was going to fail, but I pushed through and wow, I feel great. Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, congratulations again, man. That's amazing. It's lovely to hear about those experiences because that reminds people that no matter how old you are, no matter what you've done with your life, you can always challenge yourself more. You can always give yourself a new challenge,
Challenge yourself every day to something new. That's how you stay young. That's how you stay young.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Final question. Obviously, there is Rebellion coming up.
Yes.
But outside of that, if you want to, you want to plug Rebellion, it's looking like an amazing card. But what things would you like to plug? What would you like to push and promote?
Well, I'll definitely put out Rebellion there, April 23rd. It's going to be amazing. Right off the bat, Josh Alexander versus Moose for the Impact World Championship. Such a personal battle, such a well done situation over the last 6 months. It's compelling, it's drama, it's excitement, it's sadness, it's anger, it's everything that pro wrestling is supposed to be is going to come to a head at Rebellion, and I cannot wait. And for those who want to, follow me on my socials, just hit me up on Twitter at D'Lo Brown 75. I'm the only verified D'Lo. You'll hear me talking wrestling or maybe something I'm cooking, or I'll talk Chicago Bears football or Liverpool football. I will just talk about it, and I'm very interactive on there. And shoot me a question, ask me anything, and I'll do my best to answer you.
Absolutely, man. Have you been able to get to a Liverpool game more recently, or maybe next time you get back?
It'll be the next time I get back, and I'm going to schedule it around their fixtures.
Absolutely, man. It's probably better being a Liverpool fan than it is a Hull City fan anyway. But thank you so much for your time and energy, D'Lo. I really appreciate it. Look forward to meeting you in person one day. And again, thank you so much for your thoughtfulness and taking the time out for me. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, man. I appreciate you, and I look forward to shaking your hand one day.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thanks very much.